All right, buckle up for this one. We are diving into a mystery, a real bone chiller.
Ooh, sounds intriguing.
It is the Beast of the Vosges.
Oh, wow. Okay, I'm familiar with this one. Heard the name, but don't know much about it.
Yeah, it's a predator. Terrorized eastern France
Yeah.
back in late 70s.
The late 70s, huh? So, like, right out of a horror movie from that era.
Exactly. Picture this.
Yeah.
The Vosges Mountains, right?
Yeah.
Small village, peaceful, but then bam, all these livestock killings start.
Uh-oh. That's never good. What kind of livestock are we talking?
And that's just the beginning. What's really cool about this deep dive is the source material. We're going off a YouTube video.
Oh, interesting. So we're getting, like, a modern take on a classic mystery.
Exactly. By this guy, L.E. Grand J.D. He went all out for this one. Interviewed witnesses, dug through archives.
Impressive, dedicated researcher.
He even tracked down the only existing photograph of the beast.
Wow, really? Okay, now I'm hooked. You got to tell me more about this beast.
Oh, we will. But first, you got to understand, this case, it still has people hooked, even decades later.
Yeah, I can see why. There's something about these unsolved mysteries. They just capture the imagination, don't they?
Totally. And what gets me is the scale of this thing. Not just a few incidents here and there, hundreds of animals over almost 2 years.
Hundreds. Wow. Okay, so this wasn't just some random attacks. This was like a sustained reign of terror.
That's exactly what it was. And the video, it's different from his usual stuff, you know. Doesn't just lay out the facts. He really pulls you in, builds the suspense, like you're right there in the Vosges.
Ooh, I like that. Sounds like a good storyteller.
Oh, he is. It's like you can practically feel the fear in those villages. And the video title, even that's dramatic. It's called L'histoire qui a terrifié de la France.
The story that terrified Eastern France. Yeah, that's pretty dramatic. Sets the stage, doesn't it?
Right. Okay, so let's go back. Back to the beginning. March 28th, 1977.
All right, take us there. What happened?
This tiny village, demeure. Picture yourself as a farmer, waking up, 7 of your sheep dead. Just lifeless.
Oh, that's awful. I can't even imagine the shock and the fear.
It's like the opening scene of a horror movie.
Huh?
And this was just the start. The killings continued, spreading across the region, and they got more and more brutal.
That's so disturbing. It's like whatever this thing was, it was escalating.
Right. L.A. Grand J.D., he quotes this one account, this lamb, right? Completely mutilated, guts spread all over the meadow.
Oh, God, that's a gruesome image.
It really sets the tone for the whole case. It wasn't just killing for food. This was something different.
Yeah, like there was rage behind it or something. This wasn't a normal predator.
And the victims just piled up. Over 300 sheep, cows, even a bull and a foal. A foal?
That's terrifying. Can you imagine the fear in that community, not knowing when or where this thing would strike next?
Oh, absolutely. It was constant dread. And the authorities, they had to act. They launched these massive hunts, trying to catch it, kill it, anything.
Yeah, I bet. What were they like? These hunts.
They called them battues. Basically, huge sweeps through the forests. Hundreds of people. Hunters, gendarmes, even the military.
Wow, that's a serious operation.
All combing the Vosges, searching for this creature.
And what, they never found it?
Nope, never cornered it. And get this, L.E. Grand J.D. says there were 26 of these hunts. 26.
26 battues and nothing. This thing must have been incredibly elusive. Smart, even.
Right. It's like it was toying with them, vanishing every time they got close. And that's where the eyewitness accounts come in. They offer these glimpses, these hints about what the beast was, how it behaved.
Okay, so what were people seeing? What were they saying?
Well, there were lots of different stories, right? But some details kept popping up again and again.
Like what?
Well, for starters, its size. People were saying this thing was huge, much bigger than any dog, any wolf they'd ever seen. Imposing.
Okay, so we've got a big, mysterious creature roaming the countryside. That's already pretty creepy. What else?
They also kept mentioning its fur. Dark fur. And how silent it was. Like it was gliding through the woods, making no sound.
Okay, now that is unsettling. A large, dark creature moving silently through the forest. It's like something out of a nightmare.
And get this, even domestic animals were freaked out. Like, dogs and cats would cower in fear when they saw it.
Really? So it wasn't just humans who were scared. Even animals who usually know the local predators were terrified.
Exactly. Like it was something completely alien to the region, something unnatural.
That's chilling. It wasn't just a stray dog or a wolf. This was something different. Something
Yeah.
unknown.
Yeah. Like, what do you even call something like that?
That's a good question. It's like they were trying to grasp at straws, trying to find something familiar to compare it to, but coming up empty.
And there's this one account from a 91-year-old former firefighter, Marcel Magnan. He was actually involved in one of the hunts and claims to have seen the beast up close.
Wow, a first-hand account from someone who was actively looking for it. That's got to be powerful stuff. What did he say?
I can't even imagine seeing that thing face to face.
It must have been terrifying. Even after all these years, I bet that memory is still crystal clear in his mind.
Oh, definitely. But there's more. We've got the killings, the hunts, the eyewitness accounts, but there's also physical evidence, a photograph.
Hold on, a photograph. You're telling me there's an actual picture of this thing?
There is. Taken by a guy named Ernest Gless, photographer for the regional paper La Liberté de l'Est. It's considered the only visual proof.
That's incredible. So we actually get to see this creature, not just hear descriptions of it.
In a way, yeah. And the circumstances are pretty wild. Imagine the only photo of this thing was taken in broad daylight during one of the hunts.
That's crazy. He must have been in the right place at the right time and with a quick trigger finger.
Talk about a lucky shot, right? And Ellie Grand JD actually went to the Vosges archives and saw the original photo.
Wow, he really went all out for this one.
He even includes a clip of it in his video. It's grainy, of course, but you can definitely make out a large, dark shape. Nothing like what you normally see in those woods.
So we've got a photo, but still no clear answers. What could this creature have been? It's definitely not your typical predator.
That's the million-dollar question, right?
Yeah.
And there are tons of theories out there. Some more plausible than others.
Like what? Spill the theories?
Okay, well, you've got the usual suspects. Stray dog gone wild. A lone wolf.
Makes sense. Those are animals you might find in that kind of environment.
Exactly. But then it gets more interesting. There's the escaped dingo theory.
A dingo! All the way in France. That's a long way from Australia.
I know, right? It's wild. And then there were those who think it was a trained attack dog.
Ooh, now we're getting into conspiracy theory territory.
Oh, yeah. And then there's the really out there stuff. Like some people think it was something unknown, something maybe even paranormal.
Okay, now we're venturing into the realm of cryptozoology. Bigfoot in the Vosges. I'm not sure about that one.
Right. Of all those theories, which ones seem most likely to you?
Well, sticking to the evidence, the wolf theory does have some merit. Wolves kill livestock, and they're good at hiding.
But there's a problem with that, right?
Yeah, there were no confirmed wolf sightings in the area before or after the beast's reign of terror. It's like it just appeared out of nowhere and then vanished.
Exactly. So that doesn't quite add up. What about those who think it wasn't a wild animal at all? Ellie Grand JD spends a lot of time on one theory in particular. It's pretty controversial.
Oh, yeah, the Manfred Reinhardt's theory.
Right.
That's a wild one.
It is. So for those who don't know, who is this guy?
Well, he was this wealthy German industrialist, owned a huge estate right near where the first attacks happened.
Yeah, like right in the thick of it. So why is he a suspect?
Rumors started swirling that he was keeping wolves on his property, maybe even breeding them.
Wolves, like on purpose.
Yeah, and some people even thought he was training them for combat or even to attack livestock.
Wow. Like some kind of twisted revenge plot.
Exactly. And to make matters worse, his estate was completely fenced off. No one could get in.
Ooh, suspicious.
Totally added to the mystery. It's like, what's he hiding in there?
And Ellie Grand JD actually tried to get answers from him, right?
Oh, yeah. He went right up to the estate, rang the doorbell, and guess what? The place was covered in security cameras.
No way. He must have known something was up. Did he talk to him?
He did. Reinhardt's eventually answered, but he was super dismissive, said he had nothing to say about the beast.
More suspicious than helpful.
Totally. Like, why not just deny it outright if you have nothing to hide?
Right. Okay, so we've got this mysterious beast, these rumors, and this guy who's acting super shady. But then just as suddenly as it began, the terror ends.
Wait, what? Just like that? No explanation?
Yep. Mid-November 1977, the attacks stop. It's like the beast just vanished.
That's bizarre. What happened? Did they ever figure it out?
Nope. And get this, L.E. Grand J.D. points out that the disappearance coincided with the first snowfall of the season.
Interesting. Could be a coincidence. Or maybe not.
It makes you wonder, right? Did beast move on? Was it finally killed? Or did it just disappear like a ghost?
Those are questions that have haunted this case for decades.
And that's what makes it so fascinating,
Yes.
right? The not knowing.
Absolutely. The beast of the Vosges remains a mystery. And that's why we're here, trying to piece together the puzzle. You know, one of the things that really struck me watching Ellie Grand JD's video was just how much this case, this beast, really messed with the community.
Yeah, it wasn't just about the animals, right? Like you said, it was more than that.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, sure, the fear of losing your livestock, that's huge. But it goes deeper. It like messed with their daily lives, their routines.
Everything was disrupted.
Totally. People were afraid to go out alone, especially at night. Kids couldn't play outside. Farmers were on edge all the time.
It's like their sense of peace and security was just shattered.
Gone, just like that. And you mentioned trust eroding within the community. That's a big one.
Yeah, like how did that play out?
Well, every day that went by with no answers, every failed hunt, it just fueled suspicion.
Makes sense.
People started pointing fingers at each other, you know, accusing their neighbors of hiding the beast, of not doing enough to protect the community.
Wow, so it really turned neighbor against neighbor.
It did. And some even whispered that some folks might be profiting from the chaos.
Like what? How could anyone profit from that?
Who knows? Maybe they were selling protection or spreading rumors to drive up prices. Who knows? But it created this atmosphere of paranoia and fear.
It's like the beast itself became this symbol of their fear.
Exactly. It represented everything they were afraid of, the unknown, the uncontrollable, and it turned them against each other.
That's so messed up. And it kind of makes sense why Manfred Reinhardt's became such a target.
Oh, yeah. The wealthy German with the secluded estate, he was the perfect scapegoat.
Right. Different outsider, wealthy, like he didn't fit in.
It's sad, but it's a classic story. When people are scared, they look for someone to blame, and he was an easy target.
Especially with the whole World War II thing still fresh in people's minds.
Exactly. Ellie Grand JD even includes this quote from a newspaper article. They describe Reinhardt's estate as having watchtowers like Auschwitz.
Wow, that's heavy.
It is, and it shows how deep those wartime prejudices still ran. It's like they were looking for any reason to distrust him.
And that fear just spiraled. It's a reminder that sometimes the monsters we create in our minds are just as dangerous as the real ones.
Exactly. And Ellie Grand JD does a great job of exploring this in his video. It's not just about the beast. It's about the human element, the psychology of fear, and how it can tear people apart.
Okay, so we've talked about the community, but what about the media? What role did they play in all of this?
Oh, the media. They had a field day with this one. They were churning out daily updates on the attacks. Headlines were getting more and more sensationalized.
Oh yeah, Ellie Grand JD shows some of them in the video, like beast terrorizes village, man-eating monster on the loose.
Exactly. And all those headlines, the constant coverage, it just fueled the public's anxiety.
It's like they were feeding the beast with all the attention.
They were. And it wasn't just the local papers either. Reporters came from all over France, even internationally.
Wow, so it became this national, even international sensation.
It did. And as the case dragged on, the media coverage got even more speculative.
Like with all the different theories.
Exactly. You had experts weighing in, contradicting each other. It just added to the confusion and the mystery.
So it wasn't just the villagers who were coming up with wild ideas. The media was right there with them.
Exactly. They were all trying to make sense of it. But in a way, they were also contributing to the hysteria.
It's crazy to think how this would play out today with social media.
Oh man, can you imagine? The Twitter threads, the TikToks, the Reddit forums would be exploding.
It would be a total frenzy. But even without all that, the beast of the Vosges managed to capture people's imaginations.
It was a story that resonated, and it still does. That's why we're talking about it today.
Okay, so we've talked about the beast, the impact on the community, the media frenzy. But what about the investigation itself? Did they ever get close to catching it?
Well, they tried. They really did. Dozens of organized hunts, hundreds of people involved. They used tracking dogs, traps, brought in expert marksmen.
Like a full-on manhunt.
It was.
Yeah.
But it was like this beast was always one step ahead. It knew the terrain. It was cunning.
Almost like it was supernatural or something.
Right. It was so frustrating for the investigators. They had no concrete evidence besides those eyewitness accounts and that one photo.
And then, of course, there's the sudden disappearance.
Yeah.
Right when the first snow fell.
It's one of the most baffling aspects of the whole case. It's like the beast just decided to retire.
Or maybe it moved on to a new hunting ground.
Or maybe someone finally did kill it, but they kept it quiet.
So many possibilities.
That's the thing with unsolved mysteries. They leave us with so many questions, so many what-ifs.
And that's what keeps us coming back to them, trying to figure it out, even decades later.
It's the thrill of the unknown and the beast of the Vosges. It's a mystery that continues to fascinate. It's crazy, right? Like, we're talking about something that happened decades ago, but it still feels so relevant.
I know. It's like the beast of the Vosges, it's more than just a story. It's like It taps into something deeper.
Totally. Like, it reminds us that there are still things out there in the world that we just don't understand, you know?
The unknown, the wild stuff.
Yeah, and how we react to it. When things happen, things we can't explain, it messes with us.
Challenges our sense of order, our control.
Makes us question what we think we know. And what I find so interesting about this case, even though it's unsolved, there's so much to it, so many pieces.
The eyewitness accounts, the photo, the hunts. It's like a giant puzzle.
And it's almost more intriguing because we don't have all the pieces.
Right. It's not just a simple answer. It's like we have to fill in the blanks ourselves.
Use our imagination, draw our own conclusions.
And L.E. Grant J.D., he just nails it. You know, he doesn't just tell the story. He makes you feel it.
The way he uses visuals, music, it's like you're right there in the Vosges.
Totally. You can feel the tension, the fear.
And the way he focuses on the people, not just the beast, makes it even more powerful.
Yeah, like you connect with them. You feel what they're feeling.
It reminds you that there's always a human element to these mysteries. It's not just about some creature. It's about us, how we react, what it brings out in us.
Fear, anxiety, the need to find answers, it's universal.
Even in a world where everything feels so mapped out, so known, there's still mysteries out there.
Things that make us question everything. And that's kind of beautiful, don't you think?
It is. It's a reminder to stay curious, to never stop questioning.
Exactly. So, to everyone listening, don't let this be the end. Go check out L.E. Grant J.D.'s video, do your own research, and come to your own conclusions. What do you think happened to the beast of the Vosges?
Yeah, keep the conversation going.
And that, my friends, concludes our deep dive into the beast of the Vosges. What a wild ride, right?
Totally. One for the books.
But hey, this is just one of many deep dives we have for you. You can find the deep dive on YouTube, Spotify, and Amazon.
That's right. Tons of other mysteries and fascinating topics to explore.
So hit that like button, share this episode with your friends, and subscribe so you don't miss out on future deep dives. We'll see you next time.